Millionaire CEO finds a cleaning lady sleeping in the bathtub of his room and falls in love at first. Imagine this. You've had one of those days where everything goes wrong. The kind of day that leaves you so drained, you'd give anything just to collapse somewhere, anywhere, and shut out the world for a few minutes. Now picture yourself as Lucy Ramirez, an overworked cleaning lady at a luxury hotel, dragging your feet through yet another endless shift. Only this time, when exhaustion hits, instead of finding solace in some quiet corner, you end up falling asleep in the bathtub of the presidential suite. Sounds bad enough, right? But what if I told you it wasn't just any guest staying there? It was Arthur Garcia, the millionaire CEO of the entire hospitality empire. And here's the kicker. Not only does he catch you snoring away in his tub, but somehow, against all odds, this awkward encounter becomes the start of something neither of them could have ever imagined. Lucy is no stranger to hard work. She scrubs floors, folds sheets, and polishes mirrors with a dedication that most people reserve for their dream jobs. Yet, behind her tired eyes, lies a woman who dreams bigger than anyone around her realizes. Her life revolves around making ends meet while secretly hoping for more, a chance to break free from the cycle of scrubbing other people's messes and build a better future for herself and her younger sister. On the flip side, we have Arthur, a man whose life looks perfect on paper, but feels suffocatingly empty inside. He's disciplined, successful, and used to having control over every aspect of his existence. That is, until fate throws him a curveball in the form of a sleeping housekeeper. The moment Arthur walks into the bathroom and sees Lucy sprawled out in his bathtub, the air shifts. It's chaotic, hilarious, and downright bizarre. Here's this half-asleep woman, still wearing her uniform and sneakers, ID badge dangling precariously off her neck, completely oblivious to the fact that she's about to face the owner of the hotel. When Lucy wakes up screaming, convinced she's dreaming or possibly dead, the scene unfolds like something straight out of a rom-com. There's panic, confusion, and even a little bit of accidental comedy as Lucy tries and fails to explain herself without digging herself deeper into embarrassment. Meanwhile, Arthur stands there, torn between calling security and laughing at the absurdity of it all. What makes this moment unforgettable isn't just the humor, it's the humanity. Both characters are instantly relatable in their own ways. Lucy represents anyone who's ever felt invisible, overworked, and underestimated. Arthur, despite his wealth and power, comes across as someone craving authenticity in a world full of pretense. Their initial interaction sets the tone for the rest of the story, blending lightheartedness with raw emotion. You can't help but root for these two wildly different individuals, thrown together by circumstance. As the dust settles from the bathtub fiasco, things take an unexpected turn. Instead of firing Lucy, or worse, suing her, Arthur offers her a job as his personal assistant. At first glance, it seems ridiculous. How does someone go from cleaning bathtubs to managing the schedule of a billionaire CEO overnight? But beneath the surface, there's a deeper reason driving Arthur's decision. He sees something in Lucy that others overlook: her honesty, resilience, an ability to bring laughter into his otherwise rigid life. For Lucy, this opportunity feels like both a blessing and a curse. Sure, it's a chance to escape the monotony of housekeeping, but stepping into the high-stakes world of corporate elites terrifies her. Will she sink or swim? Their journey together begins with small victories and plenty of missteps. From navigating awkward social events to dealing with judgmental colleagues, Lucy learns to adapt to her new role with surprising grace. Along the way, she discovers strengths she never knew she had, proving that she's far more capable than anyone, including herself, ever gave her credit for. Meanwhile, Arthur finds himself changing too. Lucy's presence introduces chaos, warmth, and spontaneity into his carefully structured life, forcing him to confront parts of himself he'd long buried under layers of professionalism. Together, they navigate challenges that test their patience, trust, and growing feelings for each other. But let's not forget the elephant in the room, the rumors. Word spreads quickly about the cleaning lady turned CEO's assistant, sparking gossip among staff and guests alike. Some whisper that Lucy must have slept her way to the top. Others view her rise as nothing short of inspirational. The tension reaches its peak during a press conference where Arthur publicly defends Lucy, refusing to let baseless accusations tarnish her reputation. In that pivotal moment, it becomes clear that this isn't just a workplace drama. It's a story about breaking barriers, defying expectations, and standing up for what's right. And then there's the romance angle, simmering quietly beneath the surface. Neither Lucy nor Arthur planned for love to enter the equation, but sometimes life has a funny way of rewriting the script. As they grow closer, their connection deepens, fueled by shared laughter, late-night conversations, and moments of vulnerability. Yet, doubts linger. Can a relationship survive such vastly different worlds colliding? Is it possible to bridge the gap between privilege and struggle? These questions hang heavy in the air, leaving viewers eager to find out how their story will unfold. Just when it seems like Lucy and Arthur might finally get there happily ever after, a new twist emerges. Millionaire, a former flame of Arthur's and a rival investor, reappears with a mission to sabotage their relationship. Her sharp words cut deep, planting seeds of insecurity in Lucy's mind. Suddenly, the insecurities Lucy thought she'd overcome come rushing back. Does she truly belong in Arthur's world? Or is she destined to remain an outsider looking in? Meanwhile, Arthur faces his own internal battle, torn between protecting Lucy and confronting the harsh realities of his industry. Their love is put to the ultimate test, forcing them to decide whether they're willing to fight for each other or let fear tear them apart. By now, you're probably wondering how this unconventional love story ends. Will Lucy continue to rise above the challenges, proving that she's more than just the girl who fell asleep in a bathtub? Can Arthur learn to embrace imperfection and prioritize love over ambition? Or will the pressures of their respective worlds drive them further apart? Unfortunately, that's where we'll leave things. For now, stay tuned for the next chapter of Lucy and Arthur's journey, where laughter, tears, and unexpected surprises await. If you enjoyed this introduction, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more heartfelt stories that remind us all of the beauty in embracing life's messy, unpredictable moments. The days following the bathtub incident were anything but ordinary for Lucy. She couldn't shake off the embarrassment or the nagging fear that her job, and maybe even her dignity, was hanging by a thread. Every time she passed the presidential suite, she swore the walls whispered her name in judgment. Yet, life had a funny way of throwing curveballs when least expected. When Arthur didn't fire her on the spot, it felt like a miracle. But then came the real twist. He promoted her to his personal assistant. At first, Lucy thought it was some elaborate prank, orchestrated by the universe itself. How could someone go from scrubbing floors to managing the schedule of a millionaire CEO overnight? It sounded absurd, almost laughable, and yet, here she was, standing in front of him as he handed her a list of tasks, longer than her arm. Arthur, on the other hand, wasn't entirely sure what had possessed him to make such an unconventional decision. Maybe it was the honesty in Lucy's eyes when she stumbled out of the bathtub, apologizing profusely while tripping over her own feet. Or maybe it was the fact that she made him laugh, a genuine, unfiltered laugh, something he hadn't done in years. Whatever it was, he found himself intrigued by her presence. Having Lucy around turned out to be more refreshing than he anticipated. Her spontaneity disrupted his rigid routine, forcing him to see things differently. For the first time in forever, Arthur felt alive outside the confines of boardrooms and balance sheets. Still, their dynamic was far from smooth sailing. Between Lucy's accidental blunders, like spilling coffee on an investor, and Arthur's perfectionist tendencies, they clashed often, yet beneath the surface, there was an undeniable connection growing between them. As weeks turned into months, Lucy began to settle into her new role, learning the ropes of corporate etiquette, one awkward step at a time. She discovered strengths she never knew she had, proving to herself and everyone else that she was capable of much more than cleaning bathtubs. Meanwhile, Arthur started loosening up, embracing imperfections, and finding joy in moments of chaos. Their bond deepened during late-night conversations about dreams, fears, and the pressures of living up to expectations. Lucy opened up about her struggles, sharing stories of her late mother and the sacrifices she made for her younger sister, Emily. Arthur listened intently, realizing how much resilience and courage lay behind Lucy's seemingly carefree demeanor. In return, he shared glimpses of his own vulnerabilities, revealing the loneliness that came with running an empire. But just as things seemed to be falling into place, trouble brewed on the horizon. Millionaire reappeared, this time with a vengeance. As a rival investor and Arthur's former flame, she saw Lucy as nothing more than a distraction, a temporary glitch in Arthur's otherwise calculated life. Determined to expose their relationship as a scandal, Millionaire launched a smear campaign, leaking photos and planting rumors online. Overnight, Lucy became the center of gossip, both within the hotel and beyond. Headlines screamed about the housekeeper who charmed the CEO, painting her as either a gold digger or a charity case. The weight of public scrutiny crushed Lucy, making her question whether she truly belonged in Arthur's world. Arthur, however, refused to let the negativity win. He called an emergency press conference, determined to set the record straight. Standing before a room full of skeptical faces, he defended Lucy with unwavering conviction. He spoke about her dedication, her kindness, and the profound impact she'd had on not only his life, but also the entire hotel. His words resonated deeply, silencing critics and earning admiration from those who mattered most. For Lucy, it was a turning point. She realized that she wasn't fighting this battle alone. Arthur stood firmly by her side, willing to challenge the world if it meant protecting her. Despite the victory, tension lingered. Millionaires' accusations planted seeds of doubt in Lucy's mind. Were they really worlds apart? Could their relationship survive the constant scrutiny and societal pressure? These questions haunted her, especially after overhearing a heated argument between Arthur and Millionaire. Hiding behind a decorative column, Lucy listened as Millionaire accused Arthur of losing himself in a romance that would never work. Though Arthur dismissed her claims, the uncertainty in his voice left Lucy shaken. That night, she avoided him, retreating into her thoughts. Was she holding him back? Did she truly deserve a place in his life? The next morning, Lucy arrived at the office early, determined to maintain professionalism. Despite the turmoil inside her, she focused on work, burying herself in spreadsheets and emails. hoping to distract herself from the emotional whirlwind. But Arthur noticed her distance immediately. He approached her cautiously, sensing the storm brewing beneath her calm exterior. Their conversation revealed the depth of their feelings and fears. Lucy admitted she worried about being enough for someone like him, while Arthur confessed he feared losing the one person who made his life meaningful. They agreed to take things slow, navigating their relationship with patience and understanding. Meanwhile, Project Vita gained momentum, becoming a beacon of hope for countless families. Lucy poured her heart into the initiative, mentoring young adults and organizing workshops. Seeing the positive change they created gave her a renewed sense of purpose. One evening, Arthur surprised her with tickets to Paris, inviting her to present Project Vita at an international event. The gesture symbolized trust and partnership, reminding Lucy why she fell for him in the first place. As they prepared for the trip, their bond strengthened further, blending laughter, vulnerability, and shared dreams. In Paris, Lucy faced her biggest challenge yet, presenting Project Vita to a global audience. Nervous but determined, she stepped onto the stage, her voice trembling at first. But as she spoke about resilience, opportunity, and the power of believing in oneself, her confidence soared. The applause that followed was thunderous, leaving Arthur speechless with pride. Later that night, under the shimmering lights of the Eiffel Tower, Arthur took Lucy's hand and asked the question that would change everything. What if we keep changing the world together? Back home, life moved forward at a breathtaking pace. With Project Vita thriving and their relationship blossoming, Lucy and Arthur embraced the future with open hearts. Yet, amidst the joy, Arthur planned one final surprise. On a rooftop adorned with fairy lights and flowers, he knelt down, proposing to Lucy in his uniquely clumsy yet heartfelt way. Tears streaming down her face, Lucy said yes, sealing their promise to face whatever came next, together, as friends, family, and colleagues gathered to celebrate their love. Lucy looked around, marveling at how far she'd come, from a sleepy housekeeper in a bathtub to a woman standing beside the man she loved. She finally understood that sometimes the best stories start with a nap. With the climax approaching, tensions reached their peak. Would Lucy and Arthur overcome the challenges ahead? Could their love withstand the storms of judgment and doubt? As the wedding bells rang and confetti filled the air, the answer seemed clear, but only time would tell. The morning after their wedding, Lucy woke up with sunlight streaming through the curtains and a strange sense of calm. For the first time in her life, she didn't feel like she was running on empty. She looked over at Arthur, still asleep beside her, his hair tousled and his breathing steady. It felt surreal that they had started this journey as strangers, one exhausted cleaning lady and one tightly wound CEO, and now here they were, husband and wife. But just as she began to let herself relax into the idea of happily ever after, reality came knocking. Back home, Project Vita was thriving under Lucy's leadership, but not everyone was thrilled about its success. Mellene, who had always been lurking in the shadows, decided it was time to make her move. She launched a smear campaign against the project, accusing it of misusing funds and operating without proper oversight. The allegations spread like wildfire online, threatening everything Lucy and Arthur had built together. Worse yet, some sponsors began pulling out, citing concerns about reputation risks. When Lucy heard the news, she felt the weight of the world crash down on her again. All those late nights, all the sacrifices, all the trust people had placed in her. It was slipping away. She stormed into Arthur's office, tears brimming in her eyes. What if I wasn't enough? What if this whole thing falls apart because Of me? Arthur stood up, walked around his desk, and took her hands in his. You are enough, he said firmly. And we're not letting anyone take this away from us. Together, they devised a plan. Arthur called an emergency meeting with the board, where he laid out every detail of Project Vita's finances, proving beyond doubt that the accusations were baseless. Meanwhile, Lucy rallied the community, students, volunteers, families, all of whom shared heartfelt testimonials about how the center had changed their lives. They posted videos, wrote letters, and even organized a peaceful protest outside the hotel where Maline's company held its headquarters. By the end of the week, public opinion had shifted dramatically in their favor. Maline's lies unraveled, leaving her isolated and discredited. With the crisis averted, Lucy and Arthur found themselves stronger than ever. Their bond deepened, forged in the fire of adversity. One evening, as they sat on the rooftop of the hotel watching the sunset, Lucy turned to him and asked, "Do you ever wonder what would have happened if I hadn't fallen asleep in your bathtub?" Arthur chuckled, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. "Honestly, I think about it all the time, and then I realize I wouldn't trade this chaos for anything." Months later, Lucy stood on another stage, this time to accept an award for social entrepreneurship. As she looked out at the crowd, she saw faces she recognized. Emily cheering wildly, Carla filming the moment on her phone, Emma holding back tears, and Arthur smiling proudly from the front row. "This isn't just my story," Lucy said into the microphone, her voice trembling with emotion. "It's the story of everyone who believed in me when I couldn't believe in myself. It's proof that no matter where you start, you can build something beautiful if you're brave enough to try." As the applause echoed around her, Lucy realized she had come full circle, from scrubbing bathtubs to standing on international stages. She had proven that resilience, humor, and love could overcome even the toughest odds. And while her journey wasn't perfect, it was messy, unpredictable, and often exhausting. It was hers. In the years that followed, Lucy and Arthur continued to grow, both personally and professionally. Project Vita expanded to multiple cities, offering opportunities to thousands of families. Lucy went back to school part-time, pursuing her dream of becoming a nurse, while Arthur embraced a more balanced lifestyle, inspired by Lucy's ability to find joy in the little things. Together, they proved that love doesn't have to fit neatly into boxes. Sometimes it thrives best in the spaces between. So, what's the takeaway from Lucy and Arthur's story? Maybe it's that life rarely goes according to plan, and that's okay. Sometimes, the most extraordinary moments happen when you least expect them. Whether it's falling asleep in a stranger's bathtub, or finding love in the unlikeliest of places. Or maybe it's simply this: never underestimate the power of being yourself, because somewhere out there, someone is waiting to see the beauty in exactly who you are. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. What did you think of Lucy and Arthur's journey? Rate this story from 0 to 10. And don't forget to subscribe for more heartfelt tales that remind us all of the magic hidden in everyday life. Thank you for joining us today. And remember, the best stories are the ones where we dare to dream, stumble, and rise again together.